Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I have quite a bit to get through, but I also want to join my colleagues in expressing my condolences, and thank you for being here to share. Water is certainly a very important topic all across this country, and my district is no different. So I want to direct your attention, I should say, to Ohio's 13th congressional district, particularly the city of Massillon. The Corps work has been benefiting a lot of my communities, but Massillon in particular needs and wants some help from the Corps. Last term, the Corps wrapped up a $22 million levee safety investment at the dam there that will help keep our community safe from flooding for years to come, so thank you for that. When we discovered that the Corps couldn't help us fund a sluice gate replacement for their dam, we were a little concerned. Part of this was because we were told a unique contract where the city and the Corps split the operations and maintenance funding, but it was my understanding that WRDA in 2022 gave you the authority to do this. We used as one of our CPF funding projects, my first term, this project to help the city cover this gap, but it was rejected. And the last time we had a hearing in this committee in 2023, I asked about guidance related to this new authority in Section 8152. As of today, my office has since received this guidance, so we just got this today. So I know that was not your administration, but now we have it. But however, it doesn't appear that on the Corps website and the individuals in my community were not communicated with. So Secretary Tell, while we work with Massillon to work on this rehabilitation, could you share how the Corps intends to share in new implementation guidance with regional offices and relevant project partners, excuse me?
Congresswoman Sykes, thank you for the question. We take very seriously the Water Resources Development Act enacted by Congress and signed by the President, and following that law. Of the approximately 180 provisions contained in the 2024 WRDA, just to give you an idea of the process that we go through as we implement it, some of those—
Mr. Secretary, this was from 2022, not—
I'm sorry. Apologies for that. In general, when we receive WRDAs, the way that we implement them, some of the provisions are simple enough that they can be implemented right away, and they sort of speak for themselves. Others of them are very complex, and as you mentioned, require implementation guidance. It's a minority of the provisions that require that type of guidance, but that type of guidance means that we have to get in a much more detailed level of specificity in how we're going to carry out the laws that Congress passes.
And I hate to interrupt you, but I have a couple more, but can I just count on your support to work with the city of Massillon to figure this out? We are now 3 years into this, and they could use that help. There are over 22 gates they need to deal with.
Absolutely,
and they have to do 2 at a time. Thank you so much. And I do, since you were talking about WRDA, I think many of my colleagues were disappointed with the appropriation of WRDA for the 2024 that you just referenced. We have significant authorities, large authorities to deal with so many projects in our area across the district from Akron, Canton, New Franklin, Barberton, Fairlawn, and more. But what do you do when you're not appropriated the money, but these projects still need to be done? I know you don't appropriate funds, that's not your role, that is ours. But what do you do with the authorities that are not funded?
Congresswoman, we keep very close track of all projects that have been authorized by Congress, all projects that could be authorized by Congress, and all projects for which appropriations have been received from Congress. We keep very close track of all that. As I mentioned earlier in this hearing, there's some $78 billion worth of projects that have been authorized, but we haven't received appropriations. There's some $44 billion worth of projects that we've received appropriations for where that funding has not been expended. And all this is to say the demand for the Corps of Engineers services is greater than the supply. And if we're going to get after the challenges that exist in your state and exist throughout the country, this is a massive undertaking. We've got to be more efficient and smarter. It's not just about more resources. We have to deliver more with the resources that we have if we're ever going to get at this challenge. And General Graham and I are working together every day to try to ensure that that happens.
Thank you. I appreciate you talking about efficiency and working smarter. I do want to thank you. Although not funded, you've been working with the city of Cuyahoga Falls on giving some technical assistance in removing the Gorge Dam, which will be incredible. I actually texted the mayor because he had some interesting comments, and he said that the removal of those dams opened up about 1 to 2 miles of challenging whitewater for the experienced kayaker, and then when it's removed, it will open up 2 to 2.5 miles of whitewater, which is not available anywhere east of the Mississippi. Going back to your conversation on efficiency, last month, the Secret Service directed the Army Corps to change the outflow of Ohio Cedar Creek Lake to accommodate a kayaking trip for the Vice President, J.D. Vance. In terms of efficiency, it seems like this was probably not an efficient use of resources. So I do want to ask you, how much did this cost? And if you are concerned about efficiency, please explain how this action contributed towards the safety and efficiency of the Army Corps to have a escapade, if you will, out on kayaking for the Vice President.
Ma'am, thank you for the question. The water level in the lower Miami River was requested to be increased by the Secret Service, who was on a mission to protect the Vice President. Within the past year, in 2024, we experienced 2 attempts on the President's life. It is when the state of Ohio contacted the Louisville District and asked them to raise the water level in that tributary to accommodate the Secret Service's patrol boats. They did so to ensure that the Vice President wasn't under threat. And none of the operations to increase the level of that river did anything to affect, it was all within the water control manual, and none of it did anything to affect the operations of that river. All those downstream of it were notified promptly, and it was a successful use of our water resources to ensure that we protect a Secret Service protectee.
Thank you, sir, and I'm not sure about the time because I've seen a lot of different numbers here, but Mr. Chair, I appreciate your answer for that. It is not satisfactory in my estimation, and certainly we do want to keep the Vice President safe as well as all of our elected officials.
Gentlelady's time
but
is
this was
up.
not something that's made eligible for everyone, and I just did not
The
hear that.
chair-
From the Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The chair now